This video is going to give an overview of solving linear equations in one variable. We're going to be using the following general strategy to solve these equations. The very first step is to simplify each side of the equation. That means combine like terms and maybe distribute or get rid of parentheses. Then we'll use addition and subtraction to isolate the variable term. That means we're going to move things around using addition and subtraction so that all of the variables, usually x's, but it could be any other letter, all of the variables are on one side, and everything without the variable, all of the constants, are on the other side. And then finally, we can use multiplication or division to finish solving to get that variable completely by itself. So here's an example. We are going to solve 7m plus 6 equals 62. So step one is simplify each side. There is no simplification to do. 7m plus 6, those are not like terms. We can't combine them. Step two, we want to isolate the variable term. That means we want this 7m to be by itself on one side of the equation. Or in other words, we have to get rid of the plus 6. To get rid of the plus 6, we do the opposite. That would be subtracting 6 from both sides. So if I subtract 6 from both sides, now I'm left with 7m equals, and 62 minus 6 gives me 56. Finally, step 3, isolate the variable. So we want to get rid of that 7, so the m is by itself. We have 7 times m. The opposite of multiplying is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1, and that gives me just m, or 1m, on the left side. 56 divided by 7 is 8, and there's my solution, m equals 8. Now when we're solving linear equations, we can always check our answer by taking our solution, in this case 8, and plugging it in for our variable in the original equation. So to check, I can solve the problem 7 times 8 plus 6. And that should equal 62. If it doesn't, then it means I made a mistake somewhere. 7 times 8 is 56. 56 plus 6 is 62. That does work out, and so my solution checks. All right, let's solve another one. Second example, 2y minus 1 equals 8 minus y. Step 1, simplify each side if necessary. There's no simplification to do here. The left side is 2y minus 1. Those are not like terms. We can't combine them. Same on the right. 8 minus y. Can't combine those. So we need to put all of the variable terms on one side and all of the constants on the other side. So I'm going to start by putting my constants, the things without the variables, on the right-hand side. And so I'm going to get rid of this minus 1 on the left by doing the opposite. So I'm going to plus 1 to both sides of this equation. Notice that I'm adding the 1 to the 8 on the right side. I'm thinking about those like terms. So the 8 and the 1 can be combined. We wouldn't be able to combine that 1 with the minus y. So add 1 to both sides. That gets rid of the 1, the minus 1 on the left, so now I just have 2y equals 8 plus 1 is 9 minus y. All right, we want all the variables, all the y's, on the other side, on the left side of the equation. So I want to take this minus y and move it over to the left. To get rid of a minus y, I do the opposite, so that's going to be add y. And I'm going to do that to both sides of the equation. Whenever we do something to one side of the equation, we have to do the same thing to the other side. So add y to both sides. 2y plus 1y is 3y. And then on the right side, minus y plus y, that adds to 0. That goes away, and we're just left with 9. Finally, we can solve by getting rid of that 3. It's a 3 times y, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so now we've got 1y equals 9 divided by 3, which is 3. So y equals 3 is my solution. Now we can check this solution as well by taking 3 and plugging it in for both of the y's in the original equation. So 2 times 3 minus 1, does that equal 8 minus 3? 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 minus 1, does that equal 5? Yes, it does. Because this works out, my solution checks, and I know that I didn't make any mistakes. Here's another example. Now in this problem, we have 2 parentheses x minus 3 equals 6x minus 6. Before we can start adding and subtracting terms, we want to simplify. And simplify in this case means we have to distribute that 2 on the left-hand side. So I'm going to get rid of the parentheses by taking 2 times x, that's 2x, and then I'll do 2 times 3, and that's how I get the minus 6. So now I have 2x minus 6 equals 6x minus 6. We want the constants on one side and the variables on the other side. So I'm going to start by, let's see, on the left here I have a minus 6, so I'll do the opposite. I'll add 6 to both sides. Minus 6 plus 6 is 0, so now I just have 2x on the left. Oh, the same thing happened on the right. Minus 6 plus 6 is 0, so I just have 6x. We can keep going with our process. We want the x's on one side of the equation. So if I want to put the x's on the left side, that means I need to get rid of this positive 6x on the right. The opposite of a positive 6x is negative 6x. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. 2x minus 6x is negative 4x. 6x minus 6x is 0. There were no constants left on that right-hand side, so we have to write down 0. We're left with 0 on the right-hand side. We can keep going with our process. We want to get the x by itself, so we have to divide by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, so 1x equals 0 divided by negative 4 is 0, and that's our solution. X equals 0. All right, let's run through one more. So first thing I'm going to do is simplify. And so I have quite a bit of simplification to do on the left-hand side. We have the equation 3 parenthesis p plus 2 minus 2 parenthesis p plus 1 equals 4p. So to simplify on the left-hand side, I'm going to start by distributing. So 3 times p gives me 3p. 3 times 2 plus 6. Then I have to distribute the negative 2 to the p plus 1. Negative 2 times p is negative 2p. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And then I'll just copy down the 4p on the right side. I'm going to continue with the simplification because on the left side we have some like terms. I can take the 3p and the negative 2p and combine those to get 1p. 3p minus 2p is 1p. I can also combine the plus 6 with the minus 2. Plus 6 minus 2 is plus 4. So now I have the equation p plus 4 equals 4p. So all of that was our first step, simplify each side if possible. Now we want all the variables on one side and the constants on the other side. Now, in the previous examples, I always put the variables on the left side and the constants on the right side of the equation, but it actually doesn't matter which side you put your variable on. And in this case, I noticed that I already have just a constant on the left side, so maybe we should get rid of the p on the left and put all the variables on the right side. So I have a 1p on the left. I'm going to subtract 1p from both sides. So now I just have 4 on the left. 4p minus 1p is 3p. And then to finish, we have 3 times p, so we'll divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So on the right side here I have a p, but I'll just rewrite that with the p on the left, just because it looks nicer to have your variable written down first. So p equals, and then 4 divided by 3, well, 3 doesn't go into 4 evenly, so I'm just going to leave that as a fraction, and my answer is p equals 4/3. That was my last example in this video. As always, please reach out if anything is unclear.